Hey guys, Brian Karp, Sales Giant here, and this is episode 4, right? 4 of the Karp Chronicles, where I dive into what I have going this the upcoming week, what happened last week, and what's going on in my head. So this was a fantastic week. I got so much to share with you guys. When I first started doing this, I said to myself, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to sit for 10 minutes and like really recap, but I think I could basically speak for 20 minutes. Let's dive into it. So big thing that I have done my entire career, and that's 17 years of selling houses, is every single Monday, does not matter where I am in the world, doesn't matter what's going on in my life, I call every single one of my sellers and just check in. And it's funny because I was speaking to one of my clients who I sold a house for about 10 years ago, and he still remembers my Monday morning check-ins. And what I'll do from time to time is I'll even surprise some of my old clients and I'll check in with them on a Monday because they become so used to me just calling. So looking at that and always trying to, look at myself, and I just realized that I could do little small tasks forever, right? And little small tasks compounded become big, huge, monumental achievements. And it's how my Monday phone calls have just become a staple in my life. And then also just doing cardio every day and abs every day and, stuff to that capacity. I had a meeting with a friend of mine and his brother. They actually own a bank, and they are landlords just like myself and Jessica, and they have a pretty large portfolio that's, I think they're over 40 properties, and they don't have as many multis as us. Like, we own a bunch of 4 families and 3 families. They have a lot of single families. So we kind of just got together and spitball back and forth what's working for them, what's working for me. And, it's funny because it's very difficult for the average investor to scale a portfolio. And, these guys have been able to do it, and we were able to do it. So we were just commiserating how taxes and insurance have gone up across the board. And also, it's funny because it's not really passive income unless you have a property management company or you put your money to a syndication. And that's what we were kind of commiserating about, because Jessica manages all the rentals, but they're constantly calling her, texting her. She's constantly, I don't want to say chasing the money, but reminding them to pay, or someone's supposed to, most of them pay on the 1st, and she gets it on the 5th and the 7th and the 10th and the 12th. So she has to add it all up. So we were just talking about property management software like we use Rent Ready, and just some best practices and stuff that they were doing and that I'm doing, and who I'm using for sanitation and who I'm using for insurance. So it was fun to commiserate with them. Another thing that we went into is the Karp family. We loan hard money. So we have money out on the street that we loan to investors that are either fix and flipping properties or building new construction. And they've been an avenue for me in the past to loan money out. So we kind of just discussed that, went through what rates we were seeing for that, and I wanted to see if they had avenues in 25, if they needed some capital to put out. So that was, just an interesting meeting to catch up with a like-minded group like myself that is kind of in the same game. I was also very excited. We ended up closing this property that I had on the market for a little bit. It was 50 Ritchie, and it was a flip. And it was funny because when I met with the investor, obviously we're always discussing price, but it's funny because this style house was a little non-conventional for that area. And what I really want to talk about is how different neighborhoods and different areas, different style of houses are more popular and not popular, right? And certain areas lean more towards a different style. And this was kind of like a high ranch or a raised ranch, and in an area where you see a lot of rentals, and that was actually, Jessica, my first house was a high ranch. And it was funny because when I was first searching for a home, I would only look at high ranches because you could have a whole upstairs, and then you could also have a beautiful apartment downstairs, and it doesn't even cannibalize any of your space. So this was a high ranch or like a raised ranch, and it was a little bit difficult to sell. But if you looked at the quality of work was beautiful. The price point, once I got it down to where I said it should go, it moved relatively quick. But it was a little bit of an unconventional style of house for that area. And it's funny because in a different area, an area that had more rentals, this house would have flew off the shelf. So I think it's funny that when I'm evaluating homes, I'm not just evaluating on like amenities and bedrooms and bathrooms and square footage. I'm also taking into consideration what style of home works better for that exact neighborhood. And I think that just comes with almost 2 decades of selling properties. Something else is we filmed another batch of Brick to Brick podcast. That's my podcast about multifamily. And I met with someone who I've had a long time relationship with. His name is Moj, and he's my cost segregation study accountant. So not my normal accountant who runs all of the Karp-family finances and back end for all of our businesses. What he does is he does cost seg studies on properties for us. So what we basically do is we meet towards the end of the year, or basically at the end of the year. We look at the income that I generate in the brokerage side and other consulting businesses and other ventures I have, right? And then what we do is we say, okay, how much depreciation do we need to pull out of the rentals and that will offset what I would pay in taxes? And it's really cool. He in 23, and I've been very vocal about this, helped us defer, right? And that's the key word, defer, helped us defer $250,000 in taxes, right? It's not like we don't have to pay it, and it's not like we are, getting away with not having to owe it. We are deferring it. And the key to the Karp family tax strategy is defer, defer, defer. I'll die and pass on the properties to the kids, and they will be able to defer, 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 and that's how you do it. So it was great because I was able to interview him. That will probably not come out for another like 6 weeks for you guys to hear, but I literally just picked his brain. He even said how people who aren't real estate professionals could use a cost seg study. So I really recommend you guys listen to it. It's not just how much money you make, it's also how much money you're able to keep so you could reinvest in real estate. Very excited. I will probably launch this week, but I have 1.1 acres in Half Hollow Hill School District, and it is zoned, it's a greenhouse currently, which that's the zoning of it, but it's in the C3 commercial district. And I'm really excited about it because in the C3 commercial district, they allow you to do residential house or 2-family house with a whole other amount of zoning. And I think I spoke about it on my last Karp Chronicles. This will go live to everyone else, but during the process of us getting the marketing ready, I started getting it in front of a lot of investors and builders and developers I work with. I already have some offers out on it, but it's half-acre zoning over there. So the cool thing is someone will be able to technically put 2 houses there. So it's nice because I'm super interested and knowledgeable about this. So I'm able to put it in front of guys and tell them, in this area, you could build a single family facing one direction and a 2-family facing the larger road that the property is in front of. And also I know that you need 100 square feet of frontage, and it's on a busy road that has over 260 feet. Now, if you're trying to bring both houses to the back, which would probably be more valuable for residential resales, you would need a variance because there's only like 180 square feet. But I'm excited about it. We'll go out to everyone this week. I've already been passing it along, so we'll see how that plays out. And hopefully I can get a number that the seller's okay with, and then hopefully he's okay with waiting, because no one's going to pay top dollar for it or market value without it being subject to building permits and basically subject to the person getting approvals to build on it. Very excited as well. This week, I'm going to be launching, I met with them yesterday, a 4-bedroom, 2-bath in Middle Country Schools for $485. Really cute. I'm going to call it like a cape, probably. Yeah, it's kind of like a cape. It looks small from the outside, but it's dormered off the back. Taxes are low, like $8,500. House is in good shape. It's clean and neat, not super duper update, but like to get into Middle Country Schools at $485, like buy real estate. And it's funny because the guy was smart enough. He, I believe, was a police officer in his first career, but he bought a little bit of real estate, and me and him were having a conversation because this is, my mantra is you don't become wealthy in real estate for at least a decade, and really to see true gains in it, it's more like 2 decades. And he was saying a lot of people were talking him out of buying this, and he's been a great landlord. He hasn't raised rent ever. Like, he's renting this whole house for, I think, like 2 G's when it's probably it's probably like a $3,500 house, but now he's going to exit out of it. It's owned outright. I think he paid $250 for it, basically nothing. So now, 20 years later, he's able to sell it and he's got $500,000 he could redeploy. So the key to real estate, and he was trying to get his sons to buy it, is buy it now. Buy it now as long as you're disciplined enough to know that you're not going to see any change in your life or your financial situation. Big thing for the Karp family. Unfortunately, my young son Brock, he fractured his ankle playing basketball that I coach. So definitely devastating for the Karp family because now we're slowing down for all of our winter sports. And it was funny because Brock came down. Brock's not one to over exaggerate like a major injury. Normally he'll go down, be a little upset, we'll pop him up and you have to drag him off the court or the field and he's right back in there. This time he was yelling and screaming and literally sat on the sideline like noticeably upset the entire time. And we ended up bringing him to the walk-in. It wasn't swollen right away. They do x-rays. He couldn't even put pressure on it. We're at the walk-in. I'm meeting with the doctor. Just stayed in the car with Brody. The doctor basically said, no, it's just a bad sprain. Then we show it to my buddy who's an orthopedic, and he's like, dude, this thing's fractured. And then it blew up, like swollen, like black and blue, like Mike Tyson punched your face in black and blue. So I guess to me, we were so blown away that the walk-in doctor and X-ray tech didn't even see it, and we had to bring it to an orthopedic. So he's out of commission right now. And then also this week or past week, Brody started boxing lessons, which I think is pretty cool that he's doing it, just because I feel like that's like a life skill. And that's what I was saying to him. I'm like, this is something that hopefully you'll never need, but it's good for you to be able to fight if you, God forbid, ever needed to, or protect yourself or protect somebody. And I was trying to give him like an analogy. The first analogy I used was terrible, but then the second one was good. I'm like, it's like a CPR, right? Like you never want to have to use it, but you want to know that you have it. So there's a little thing going on with the Karp boys. Big breaking apartment syndication news. I just got a signed LOI on our second property, and this one is really cool. It's funny because last March, my partner and myself set out and saying we were going to build an apartment syndication. We hired a securities attorney. We started raising outside capital, and our goal was to get 100 doors under management. I think we said 2 years or 18 months. And right now with this new 36 acquisition, it's going to put us right very close to that 100 door mark. And it just shows you how compound works. And basically what happened was our property management company that we love very much and had a really positive experience with so far, they brought us this 36 and they asked us, would we want to partner with them? And for us, it's huge because we already value them and think that they're amazing managers, knowing that one of our partners is going to be managing. So they're going to treat it like their own asset, which to me is huge. And it's a screaming deal, totally off market. They was somebody that they knew in their community. So they're like a local property management company. And in the town that our 51 unit property is, they are, know everybody, right? Like the property manager himself, who runs the company, used to be a sheriff. So like they know everyone. And this was directly someone they knew who was kind of just tired of being a landlord, and brought it to them, and they locked it up and said, do you guys want to partner with it? So we're going to be out probably. You'll hear me start blasting it in the next week or two because I'm going to go to my limited partners for my first project and give them the right to invest first. It's the right thing to do. They believed in us in the first project, so we definitely want to give them the right to invest in this one. And it's cool because it's in the same community, so if they wanted to almost like dollar cost average into two projects, they'd be able to. Once we do that, then I will go out and I will raise, probably on this one will be similar to my first one, over $1 million in outside capital we'll raise for this in limited partners. So I'm just super psyched because it took us almost a year to find the first deal. And now with the first quarter of 25 being here and a deal was literally just brought to us, it just shows you how everything you do compounds, right? Like these small little things, the small little wins, you don't see anything coming, but it just compounds and compounds and compounds. So I'm really excited to bring that to market. I'm really excited to go visit it, which I'm gonna go visit at the end of February. And I'm excited to bring in some more limited partners. Hopefully some of my partners from my first one will jump in. Like, I want to be able to bring one or two different investment opportunities to everyone every year to put their capital in, because I'm buying and they can buy with me. So super psyched about that one. There'll be more and more talking about that. And then Friday, even though I worked in the morning, I actually took a few hours off. And this was so much fun. I went to this place in Manhattan called the Bathhouse. And I've gone to one with my brother Adam before in London, and the one in London was a Russian bathhouse. This was just called the Bathhouse. And it was underground. You had to make a reservation, and we went, and it was really cool. You get there, they give you like this air tag for your locker and your credit card, and you use that. You go into the locker room, and obviously bring your bathing suit, and they give you sandals, and literally you go there, and it's just pools, hot tubs, saunas, steam rooms, cold plunges, and I literally had so much fun. We spent like 5 hours there. There was a cafe. I'm really into like cold immersion and hot immersion. And then we did this like little program where you went into the hot sauna for 15 minutes. It got up to over 211 degrees. And then from there, you go right to the cold plunge. And they had two cold plunges, one that was 55 and one that was 45. And then you go in the 45 one for 2 minutes. Literally, I came out, I felt like I've never felt in my life. It was the craziest thing I ever did. So I had a ball there. It was so much fun. And that's really it. That is the Karp Chronicle week 4. If you guys like this, please share it, subscribe. I'm doing this because I think it's interesting. It'd be fun in 5 years to watch some of these. And I'll see you next week.